Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who also says there is now enough evidence for a racketeering case against Mrs. Clinton and the foundation. Mr. Mayor, great to have you with us, and we appreciate your time. I have to ask your reaction. I have to laugh. I mean, this is deadly serious stuff. But it
is deadly serious stuff, and it's absurd. It doesn't change my position, though. I thought Jim Comey was wrong back in July when he laid out a knockdown, drag-out, absolutely overwhelming case of at least 3 or 4 violations of federal law, destroying 33,000 emails after getting a congressional subpoena, lying and saying she had only 1 cell phone when in fact she had 13, and she destroyed some of them with a hammer. The others have disappeared. We don't know where they are. The FBI's never bothered to find out. Maybe they're in the East River, and we got to go dredge the East River for them.
Well,
I thought his original decision, as you know, I was on your show several times, was terribly wrong and came to the wrong conclusion. When he reopened it with the 650,000 emails on the server of an alleged sexual pervert, Anthony Weiner, I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to really add something to the recklessness. Now she's even more reckless than she was back in July. And then we find out about the maid having access to the classified material. That makes her even more reckless than she was back in July. I don't know when you get reckless enough to fit the gross negligence standard that carries a 5-year penalty of jail, a felony. I mean, he found her extremely careless back in July. That would make her guilty of gross negligence. Now we add on that Weiner and the maid certainly having access on a routine basis to classified information. We have to have gotten over the top of recklessness by now, and something strange is going on, but all I can tell you is this is a case that I would have prosecuted months ago. And here's the other strange thing. As far as I know, this case has never been presented to a grand jury. Now, that's outrageous. The kind of violations we're talking about here should be presented to a grand jury, as well as the multi-million-dollar fraud that is the Clinton Foundation and the Department of State.
Well, they have not dismissed, apparently, their interest in public corruption, although it's hard to believe they would preserve any kind of interest in prosecuting Hillary Clinton if they do not prosecute her for what is contained within this email scandal. By the way, we should add, Rudy, as you know, the maid, Santos, also had full, apparently, according to New York Post reporting, full access to a SCIF. That is sensitive, compartmentalized information, classified, top-secret stuff in a room in the Clinton house.
Yeah, there's a sailor in jail for 1 year for taking 4 pictures on a submarine because the submarine is considered classified and sending it to his mother. Yeah. So how do you think he feels when Hillary has revealed secrets of far greater dimension to people who do not have top security clearance? And by having a private server at home, if China, Russia, Iran don't have all of those documents, then we have nothing to worry about from them. Then they are completely incompetent at the game of hacking.
It is absolutely extraordinary. And where does it leave the Justice Department, which looks utterly compromised because both Clinton, Hillary Clinton, the nominee, former Secretary of State, member of the Obama administration, and President Obama have said clearly, signaled in every way, subtly and absolutely overtly, that they want the Justice Department to back off, and it looks as though they've not only backed off, but they have put up roadblocks and brought a hammer with them, to which apparently James Comey is responding.
Well, I mean, the moment Loretta Lynch met Bill Clinton on the tarmac in Arizona, at 120-degree temperature about 4 days before Hillary's interview, immediately she compromised the case. She said she was going to recuse herself. She hasn't. She's been involved in trying to talk Comey out of sending the original letter. She took the review from Comey and didn't turn it over to one of her deputies. So she kind of recused herself, but she didn't. Highly unethical conduct. The Justice Department seems to have been the roadblock to the FBI getting this information before a grand jury. And we're talking about somebody in the Justice Department who's a close friend of Podesta and gives him inside information, which we also learned on WikiLeaks. So Hillary has really succeeded in corrupting two of our most important departments of government, the Justice Department, and she sold the State Department, you know, in cash for uranium for Russia, intervention in the UBS tax case, keeping Erickson off the Iran sanctions list. Those companies altogether gave them about $100 million. They gave Bill about $10 million in speaking fees.
And the foundation,
none of that. Everything I've just said to you has not been presented to a federal grand jury. That's outrageous.
It is outrageous, and it just gets more so. And as you said, and I think the word applies in almost limitless dimension, the absurdity of all of this compounds itself. And I want your conclusion on this, because I'm going to say this to you. I believe, after watching all that's unfolded just today, against the backdrop of all that preceded it on the part of the Justice Department and the FBI, if there's anyone in this country who does not think the system is rigged, as Donald Trump puts it, I can't even imagine what they're thinking. How about you?
Well, I don't think there's anyone in this country who doesn't think we have to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C., and that it is truly a swamp. And we need quickly post-Watergate-type reforms of the Justice Department and the State Department, so they start working for the people and they stop being the corrupt entities of Clinton, Inc.
With that, former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, thank you very much, Rudy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.